The elections in Cyprus are done. Can you comment the first and the final results, actually?
Yeah. I think it verifies that we're living in a very interesting times. In Cyprus, we had a very astonishing result, which is happening for the first time. We have an independent candidate who polled nearly 20% of the vote. That is something that it has never happened in Cyprus. Usually independent candidates only score from 1 to 2%. He managed to score 20%, which is like an earthquake development in Cyprus. He ranked third behind the two major parties, and it's the talk of the town, and it will be the talk of the town for Cyprus for the months to come. He was obviously elected. All other parties, the mainstream parties, lost percentages and votes as well, to the extent that the only real winner of this election, beyond the independent candidate Fidias Panayiotou, is the far right. It was the only party that it increased its vote share for another consecutive election, so it was not just a happening, it's something that takes place in the last 10 to 12 years now. Every time they increase their vote share and their actual vote numbers. So if I had to single out two things from yesterday's elections, is the independent candidate who was selected on a purely political base and campaign. He told the electorate that I am not a politician, I know nothing about politics, I know nothing about the European Union, but I'm willing to learn. He's only 24 years old, and the voters gave him nearly 20%. And the second development is obviously the continuous rise of the far right, who will be represented in the European Parliament for the first time with one MP. And what makes this even more interesting is that Cyprus only has 6 European members of the European Parliament. So one of them going to the far right and the other two an independent is really an earthquake development in Cyprus.
And what's the future for Cyprus and the European Union?
For Cyprus, I think we are continuing to be on a very fluid political environment. The parties that support the government, all of them lost votes. It's already a minority in the parliament. It was even before the elections, but now it's even lower. The two main parties who are both in opposition, they also lost percentages in power. So it means that we are in a very fluid situation, and the only real winner was the far right party. So I'm not so sure what lies ahead for Cyprus. It's on the one side it's interesting, but on the other side it's troubling, because the country needs to be governed effectively. The good thing for Cyprus is that our presidential system is not affected by this election, so there will not be an overthrow of the government like it happened in France, for example, where we saw that Macron declared elections for the end of the month. And concerning the European Union, I've seen from the results that eventually things did not change so dramatically. The three mainstream political party families are still in control of the votes of the majority in the European Parliament. So I don't expect dramatic or drastic changes at the European Union level, but one has to take account that the far-right political groupings were enhanced in these elections, yesterday's elections, so I expect them to be key players in the next 5 years.